Now I need to see what Pridestalker can do. If he can figure out how to go forward. At least this time, he can throw a Spiderling and run away.
Yes, he
and
can.
the Spiderling will deal damage.
Yes, he did not have the greatest of games. Pridestalker, we want to see you gank.
Yes.
Because you're going up against Broxah, the man that became a bit of a legend when he joined in spring for his early game presence. His debut performance was on Lee Sin, and the play that made it to Reddit was his sidestep of the Cassio ulti.
Not once, not twice, like three times.
Like, this guy knows how to play the champion. It is often banned away from him. And right now, Fnatic are just continuing by focusing on their comfort picks.
Absolutely. On the side of ROCCAT, though, they got the options available to them. Hjarnan, looking at the fact that Zyra's banned out, Kalista's banned out, he's been a bit more willing to play some of the more interesting AD carries. He's got a game of Jinx under his belt as well. What are you anticipating as there's no AD carry bans in the second phase?
See, for Hjarnan, I'd love to see a Sivir. I think that Sivir is a little undervalued right now in the current meta, given the cost of Essence Reaver and Infinity Edge being reduced. It's much easier for her to hit her spikes sooner, which means that that 3-item teamfight powerhouse that is Sivir can actually have a lot of value. Now, bear in mind, like, the problem is when you cast a Fnatic series, you forget about the meta AD carries like Varus, Ashe, Caitlyn, and all of those three are available, and that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with Hjarnan picking up the Varus. I just think that in terms of his low mobility, it's something you always have to be cautious of because you are going up against the Kennen itself.
And of course, for Fnatic, they now need to reveal their solo lanes. We saw the Gnar last time round. They need to blind pick at least top lane. It'll be the LeBlanc into the Syndra for caps. And sOAZ has a couple of options available to him. Phaxi was somewhat counterpicked in the previous game. Then Gnar into the Renekton. What happens this time?
Just thinking about some of the other top laners that are available, our pool is very limited right now. I mean, right now I feel like the best decision is actually put the Kennen top lane, and then you pick a different AD carry like the Twitch or the...
we should, you know what, like, Deficio made fun of me on the analyst desk for saying that. Vedis, don't buy into my silliness, okay?
I said what would make the most sense, and then just as I was about to say, well, that's probably not going to happen.
What do you think
kled gets locked in?
Yes, kled versus what looks like to be Jarvan for the time being.
Skill matchup. So this is actually really fascinating because we've got a skill matchup in the mid with Syndra versus LeBlanc, and we've also got a bit of a skill matchup in the top lane with the Jarvan versus kled. And based on what we saw last game, Phaxi, not the best of performances, but that doesn't necessarily mean that during the laning phase he was suffering against sOAZ. The pressure will definitely be on him, but the cool thing is that Jarvan is paired up with an Elise, and that is fantastic for getting early kills, especially with the Syndra 2. This whole composition is built around getting an early lead. You have so many tools. Jarvan, Syndra, Thresh, Varus ulti. Everything is poised and ready for the Elise engage or the Elise follow-up, or for Elise to kill you in the early game, and Fnatic are very similar in what they've drafted to.
I did like what ROCCAT did in the first 20 minutes of the previous game. They stayed even. They actually were available to counter-gank and respond to Fnatic plays while also trying to set up dives, but it kind of felt like both teams were reading one another very well. So a lot of those plays fizzled. This time around, it cannot afford to happen. Grabs is about to shake hands with Dylan Falco. Dylan, of course, officially on stage on heads with the team from this week. This is potentially the last game of the first round robin for Fnatic. They're 3-0 undefeated in series. If they take down ROCCAT now, it'll be 4-0. Hashtag FNC win if you think they'll do it. Or hashtag ROC win if you want to go to game number 3. Fnatic lost a little bit of ground in the fan vote from 95% to a abysmal 86%. Let's see if that vote continues to drop, as everyone here in Berlin is excited for Fnatic versus ROCCAT. Game number 2. I'm looking forward to kled versus Jarvan, because there's so many spells I love to yell.
Yep. Bear Trap on a rope. The Dragon Strike, I think it's one of them from Jarvan.
Is indeed.
All I know them as is QWE art. And the common combo for Jarvan is E into Q, and then R, and then auto. Let's use this as an opportunity to talk about top lane matchup and the top laners in general, because this is a skill matchup. We talked about it in Champion Select. The thing is, the trading pattern for both champions, like, they're pretty all-in, right? Like, when you think of kled, his whole nature, the way in which he was presented is about killing stuff.
Uh-huh.
He loves to get in your face, really powerful engage tool, and Jarvan is very similar. He's very much about bursting, but in the laning phase, they're not much about burst trades. They're about small skirmishes, small hits, and when you are kled, the thing you have to try and play around is the passive on your W, because you can't actually activate it, right? So when it's available and you use a basic attack, your passive starts. So on the 4th hit, you do a chunk of damage. So ideally what you want to do is walk up with the bear trap on the rope, fire it out. Once your passive is ready, hit him in the face. You're good to go. For Jarvan, you want to hit him with the Q, your Dragon Strike, right? Because it reduces their armor. And then because of his passive, he gets an empowered auto attack, and he wants to slap you in the face when you have that reduced armor. So you can see how the small trades are very much about relying on hitting a certain skill shot and very small windows to take advantage of.
It also feels like the Jarvan is a little bit more up front, and then on sOAZ is kled a little bit on the back end. So I'm very excited to see the nuances of those trades, as you should expect. And of course, you add to this, discussion about top lane traders, early game junglers with Lee Sin and Elise.
Yep.
The shenanigans can go out. So sOAZ, there we go, the bear trap on a rope, pulls Phaxi forward. They trade a couple autos, but he doesn't continue to chase further. Trading a plenty as Caps goes auto for auto into Betsy. Takes a couple of minions for his trade. It ends up being a little bit in favor of Betsy, I feel. However, the corrupting potion for Caps, refillable. It'll give him some additional money later in the game, as he's not going to be relying on that Dawn's Ring.
And the reason why that mid lane matchup is a bit of a skill one is because Caps has basically abilities that are difficult to dodge, whereas all of Betsy's abilities can be dodged. So Caps wants to try and avoid all the balls, avoid the skill shots as much as possible, whereas Betsy is relying on Caps to try and engage because he locks himself in once he uses that distortion. That is a big window with which Betsy can get a turnaround play on, so that then that's how it becomes a skill matchup. It's all about the skill shots and timing.
Vedius, you talked about skill shots and timing. Here comes Broxah, bear trap on a rope, finds its target, pulls Phaxi backwards. First blood to Broxah.
I hate to say I told you so, quick shot, but early game junglers, Broxah, this is what he was known for. Phaxi overextended in the top lane, tried to get the push, tried to display an element of dominance, but instead he just overextends and allows Broxah to get that first blood.
Pridestalker can't get over the wall either. Broxah's not done. Double buffs still available to him. And got the ability to ward hop behind Betsy. Betsy sitting with a flash barrier as far as summoner spells are concerned. And as I got very excited, it actually looks like Broxah's backed away. I'm looking at the top lane, and Phaxi continues to push that wave in. He's at threat of a regank.
Yep, there's a very high probability. He does have the flag and drag to get out of any sticky situations, and notice how he is positioning close to the wall as well. Pridestalker, I don't know if that constitutes as a gank. He's just trying to help Betsy push in so they can go back to base, because Betsy has in fact ran out of health potions.
Well, Vedius, we are here in Berlin. There's a live studio audience, and the teams often go to meet their fans. Go take photos, sign some autographs, hang out. Pridestalker is getting some practice. He just walked by, took a little bit of a wave, getting warmed up.
But he has to win to go out and meet the fans, and if he doesn't get any kills, it's going to be difficult. Because my eyes are on Pridestalker. If you're playing this champion, you have to gank. That is what Elise is designed to do. Her early base values are extremely high, and her effectiveness comes from the early pressure that she is able to exert. And when you have things like Jarvan and Syndra, it's too much of a shame not to do it.
Yeah, and of course with those laners that you've just mentioned, Vedius, of course, some pressure on Phaxi and Betsy to set those plays up, to play the lane in such a manner that maybe allows it to happen. Something that you can start to talk about. sOAZ, of course, got that first blood assist with Broxah. He's up 15 CS. Phaxi using that Dragon Strike just to try and trade back and farm under tower. No teleport, no flash. And Betsy's going to pop the Scryer's Bloom. Get some vision down onto Broxah. I'm looking at the CS numbers. Pretty much as expected to a degree. Betsy's small advantage in the mid lane. First blood top means that sOAZ has a pretty big advantage, and as even as you can get at 80 carries at this stage.
Okay, so I have to put my dad Deficio cap on for a second, because... Oh, okay, this is positive for sOAZ, because he has gone back.
Now?
Yeah, because he's bought himself a control ward. Whereas Caps, he went back to base, and he only bought 2 amplifying tones. And look at how dark this top river is right now. This is very risky, especially when you have 2 heavily pushing top laners. When you go back to base, you want to get yourself that vision as early as you can, because when you have vision, you know where the enemy team is, and you can make decisions based off of that information. So we did see this control board coming out from, I believe it is Pridestalker, and now we have this control board up in the top lane for sOAZ. But bit of a shame on Caps, because he did not get that control ward, and now look at all this darkness that you have in the top half.
And that means ROCCAT have some opportunities, but they need to firmly grasp them. Broxah, knowing that Phaxi has no flash and the wave is pushing into him. How long is Phaxi willing to wait? There's no support from Pridestalker, and sOAZ is not really giving any indication that something is up. We jump quickly to the mid lane as Betsy's got unleashed power. He flashes forward, not enough for the kill! Whoa! Cap survives! Up in the top lane, bear trap on a rope, pulls Phaxi backwards, jousting goes down as like Jamarcia signals Phaxi's death.
ROCCAT, they tried so hard to make things happen, but it is Fnatic that are able to come out on top. Not only does Cap survive in the middle lane, but Phaxi ends up dropping once again, and sOAZ is continuing his snowball, even though he didn't get any of the kills, which is a little unfortunate, but the pressure and experience that he's gaining is everything that he needs. So I think that sOAZ actually waits for the level 6 mark. You can see this is just a bit of the early trading that we missed thanks to the all-in that happened in the middle lane. And the moment he gets 6, I expect him to go in. Also, the fact that the E was used is the big pain point for Phaxi, because now he's lost his escape. You can't get out, especially from the ultimate from sOAZ. Ends up in an easy kill for Fnatic.
Yep, nicely done. So Broxah 2-0. Lee Sin is becoming, in my mind, a Broxah signature champion.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Every time I see him play Lee Sin, he makes very good plays. What I really like about this particular game, not only the first blood, but the repeated attempts. Hung around in the top half of the map, set up some vision, and is punishing Phaxi in what is a very difficult matchup. And of course, if Phaxi can't go into the mid game with the ability to put those cataclysms down, well, then Fnatic are going to be sitting pretty comfortable.
And remember, we talked about both these teams are looking to get an early snowball. When you have Lee Sin and an Elise, and you have these two solo laners that are all about being able to set up kind of early power, you need that early pressure as...
Oh, gets a flash already. Death Sentence finds Broxah to buy some time. Broxah now flashes himself away. Chain of Corruption tags down Jesiz. He flashes to safety. Phaxi completes the TP. So does Caps. Caps takes down Wadid. Down in the bottom lane. Rekkles kills Phaxi, and Fnatic are 4-0. sOAZ isn't done yet. Looks for the tower dive. Skarl will help him out. Tanks up a lot of shots.
Oh,
tries to get around the corner. Ring around the Rosie. Pocket pistol for Posey, and that's a kill onto sOAZ.
So well played from Hjarnan. He's able to get something back at the very least for ROCCAT. But even after that play, it is still Fnatic that come out on top. They have the pressure across the map. They were able to get the turnaround kills onto ROCCAT, and they are currently sitting at 4-1 in the kill score.
And it is one of those situations where you have to giggle. Running around the tower at full HP, and Hjarnan gets the damage to make it stick.
So let's backtrack. So you can see that mid has been pushed in by Betsy. That means that both him and Pridestalker are moving to the bottom side of the map. The thing you have to keep your eye on is, number one, the target focus of ROCCAT. Look at the amount of damage that Wadid takes. He gets popped out immediately from the TP, and now because Caps is focusing the backline, 2 members of ROCCAT are trying to keep their AD carry alive. Syndra gets zoned away by Broxah, and that means that Phaxi is all by himself diving onto 3 members. Like, this is very entertaining. He literally runs around the tower and says outplayed. He doesn't even die in the end, which is great for ROCCAT, but like, this is just a demonstration of communication issues within ROCCAT, proper understanding of how to set up, and it's just very similar to what we've seen over the last 2 weeks for ROCCAT, where they cannot act upon what they have in their mind.
I wish I'd seen an emote spam there from Hjarnan. That was such a cool play. Well, Hjarnan, the only kill of the game for ROCCAT. They're still down 1,500 gold. sOAZ is going in the top lane, is engaged down in the jungle. Dragon's Rage knocks Phaxi against the wall. He can't even complete the Cataclysm, and it goes on cooldown for what it's worth. Pridestalker is able to escape the jungle with his life, but Broxah 3-0-2? He's running away with this game.
The problem is, it's going to be exactly the same sort of situation to what it was in Game 1, where sOAZ was playing the Gnar that became unkillable at the very end of the game. He became this massive split-push threat, which Phaxi just will not be able to deal with.
Vedius, as we've gone past 10 minutes in the game, I have yet another question for you.
Are you going to give me another technically
Oh
correct
no,
stat.
I'm just going to give you an information.
Okay.
How much damage per minute do you think Pridestalker has done for the first 10 minutes of the game?
Damage per minute. I'm going to say 0.
Let me tell you, 8 damage per minute. He's dealt a total of 80 damage to champions on an early game champion. Now,
80 damage?
That's correct. That's
a minion
correct.
does more damage than that.
There we go. Unfortunately for ROCCAT, they are not playing well. Now, okay, that's super unfair, and please, 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 I don't want this to sound like I'm hating on Pridestalker because his lanes have lost around him. It's a difficult situation to be in. Caps, again, survives the unstoppable power. And Betsy will at least try to set up this tower. Now Pridestalker knocks down the turret. That's at least the first of the game for ROCCAT. Broxah lands the Sonic Wave, sends Pridestalker back to base. And ROCCAT, they're down a tower, they're down 5 kills, 2,500 gold. And Phaxi is on 9, 10 deaths already for the series.
Yeah, I think it's worth highlighting that, yeah, sure, we have a few jokes, we make we have a few laughs around Pridestalker, but it's not just him that is underperforming on the side of ROCCAT. Like, Phaxi has been really disrespecting that of Broxah, and he has been heavily camped. He's been disrespecting sOAZ, and he has been heavily camped by Broxah. And Betsy in the middle lane, like, his map movements have not been the strongest. Even though he's had pressure, we're yet to see him make top lane plays like we did with Caps in game 1, right? When you have this sort of push advantage and a 20 CS lead, you want to be trying to use that around the rest of the map like Caps has been effectively able to do. Yeah,
the shining light for ROCCAT is once again Hjarnan and Wadid. Even on CS, Hjarnan with a weird outplay onto the man on your screen, sOAZ. But unfortunately for the two of them, the top half of the map just starts to fall apart at times. This time around, Phaxi and Pridestalker not really, I don't want to say paying respect, but not playing around the fact that they were flashless and that there was possibilities for dives.
I thought he was going to ult him then.
I was holding bated breath.
Useless ulti ever.
Bated breath. Betsy, by the way, I think we have to give some kudos here. Plus 20 CS has taken that tower down.
That's because Caps has been roaming around the maps and all in happens bot.
All right, Chain of Corruption starts to spread. Jez is not dead yet. Wadid takes so many tower shots. Phaxi's being run down. Bear Trap and a rope, as well as Jousting takes him down. For some reason, Phaxi uses the Cataclysm. Rekkles is looking to run down Hjarnan. He doesn't have an item completer, but he doesn't need it. Flash forward for the kill. Broxah fights Pridestalker and squashes him with his boot.
And he doesn't even use the resonating strike. He follows the kick with a ward jump. Beautiful play from Broxah, and Fnatic just dismantling the strongest part of ROCCAT, which is their bottom lane.
Individually, every member of Fnatic is outperforming ROCCAT. Here comes Betsy. 1, 2, looking for the triple. Flash just doesn't find it. Finally takes him down. Triple for Betsy.
You can see the frustration on Broxah's face as Betsy is able to finally get something back for his team. He makes that roam down to the bottom lane, but look at Caps still pushing onto the mid lane tower, and it always feels like Fnatic are finding answers all across the map.
Well, tower about to fall. We're approaching 15 minutes in, and Fnatic have got nearly 4,000 gold in the lead. Every single mapper ahead in itemization. Caps doesn't need boots. Gunblade first, why not? Bang bang, he wants to shoot them down.
So this is the, this is just the triple kill that happened down bottom lane. I would argue that that's one of the easiest stands to land for Betsy. No vision for Fnatic, and so close for Broxah. If Betsy didn't have barrier, that would have been a kill. And he's just, the frustration on his face. He knows that it was just an unfortunate situation for him to be in. And
thing that I love, right? Thing that I love. This is a guy who was 5-0-2, and he almost got a kill on somebody that stunned him and like surprised him. And he's legitimately so disappointed.
Game 1, 0-0-0. I don't know if that's...
Yep. It was even at 20 minutes, remember?
Oh, at 15 minutes, my
Fnatic were technically losing in gold.
Yes, they were. They were technically losing. Whereas this game, like, this is a difference though, right? In game 1, he was playing that Kha'Zix, which is a little bit more of a scaling jungler, and he couldn't do as much with his laners. This time around, he knows he has to play an early game jungler, and he's making it work. And this is actually just something that I really love to see, because when you're at home and you're trying to play a solo queue game, and you know you're on an Elise or Elise in, and you're trying to make early plays happen, sometimes it can just feel really difficult. But then when you see a player like Broxah just come out with champions like Elise, he makes it look super easy.
It helps when you're gifted some positioning.
No, but like
Phaxi.
I mean, that's definitely true, right? But it's also like factoring in his pathing and the way in which he positioned and the way in which he was communicating with sOAZ. Has Phaxi used his ward into the top river? When is that? Like, there's a lot of logic that goes into it where he's planning ahead what his moves are. And on an individual level, he is just outplaying a lot of members of ROCCAT too. I think all of Fnatic are, and you know, individually we have talked a lot about the players over the last couple of weeks. They're likely to go 4-0, taking down every team in their group in the first stage of the round robin. Next week starts the cross-group play, so I'm very excited to see how Fnatic match up against the likes of Unicorns, H2K, and Splice. And for Fnatic as a team, this upward growth started when they crushed H2K in the playoffs. We jump to the middle lane, Caps gets caught by a death sentence, decides to go back in and burst down Hjarnan. Here comes sOAZ with a charge! Stranglethorns zones away ROCCAT. Pridestalker once again killed by Broxah. And tower number 3 falls. And just again, look at the decision-making from Fnatic. They're using the information that they have on the minimap in order to make plays, because Betsy was sitting in the top lane, Phaxi had no teleport. This was all coming together to enable Fnatic to get the collapse down onto Hjarnan, know that the rest of ROCCAT wouldn't be able to respond. They get themselves the mid-tier 1 kill, 2 kills rather, and they'll get themselves the Rift Herald.
All right, let's see how Fnatic use this Rift Herald. Caps pops that Banshee's Veil, and of course this Rift Herald will get picked up by Jesiz. Broxah likes to use that trinket to ward hop.
And I do have to correct myself from last game because I criticized the use of the Rift Herald, but we'll get to that in a second because, again, look at the positioning of all of ROCCAT. In the bottom lane, Phaxi, push underneath his turret, he cannot join the fray. There's a Syndra up top lane, and ROCCAT are 2 members in mid just trying to wave clear. But Fnatic just know, you know what, they can't answer. We can easily force a fight mid because we have kled, and they make things happen. And it's just really good awareness and understanding by Fnatic.
And of course, I also have to apologize for misspeaking. I said there was a Stranglethorns under tower. It was not. It was a Pridestalker repel. Oh. So yeah, major.
We all make mistakes. It happens. But yes, I criticized ROCCAT's use of the Rift Herald last game. It was actually because Pridestalker accidentally used it when he was trying to place a trinket down. He was trying to use that slot. For some people, it's 4. For me, it's T. But it was just a misclick, basically, which is why it happened. And that's not the first time. I've actually seen it happen all over the world. So I understand that some pros are still getting used to the fact that it does take up that trinket slot.
I also like the fact that it was given to Jesiz instead of Broxah and Elise, who really wants to utilize those ward hops. Let's see where they decide to place it. We're approaching 20 minutes. Still around a 5,000 gold lead. Looking at the items, Hjarnan, the only guy that's kind of even on power thus far. Banshee's Veil completed for Betsy. Gunblade completed for Caps. And then an early QSS for Broxah, get rid of some of that single target CC, which just allows him to continue running amok on the ROCCAT front or back line, or well, just on ROCCAT.
Yep, a lot of good items have been finished. sOAZ very likely will go towards the Black Cleaver, followed by the Gargoyle Stoneplate. Very, very strong item, especially for teamfight top laners. And now we have to keep our eyes on Betsy too now, because he did get that triple kill down the bottom lane. He got a large influx of gold, and he could be a big swing factor in being able to turn around a lot of these fights. The problem is, he's going to have to deal with sOAZ, who's more than likely going to be sitting on his face. And while he is squishy, when you have Skarl, people always forget the reset that he gives you, right? Because you demount him, you become untargetable. And let's see him come into action again.
Once again, Death Sentence finds his target onto Caps. Not going to be enough to save Wadid, though. Pretty easy. So 5-on-4 scenario, lots of HP to play with. Fnatic are setting themselves up. I'm looking at the minimap. Minions making their way down mid lane. Rift Herald has been summoned. She will start to prime that charge. Phaxi's looking to interrupt. He gets rooted down in place. Knocked up, knocked aside, knocked down. Phaxi can't even cataclysm. Betsy and the rest of ROCCAT are running away again. And the Rift Herald is continuing its siege on the ROCCAT base.
Now bear in mind, Fnatic, they still have Kennen's ultimate available. but they've decided to play it safe. They're going to disengage, take the tower, take the kills, and it's just Fnatic doing exactly what they needed to. They, again, recognize the poor positioning of ROCCAT, having to deal with all this side lane pressure, and they force a fight mid, which is so easy to do with this kled.
The difference in communication between these teams is phenomenal. Phaxi's engaged here, no support, no backup. Didn't have Wadid either.
Yeah, and watch how quickly they turn on to Phaxi as well. The root from Jesiz, the kick from Broxah. He doesn't want to allow Phaxi to be able to get with the rest of his team, and then Rekkles with the kill. And it was just really good execution, and it's just great to see the top tier teams here in Europe really level up, because this feels like such a different Fnatic to the beginning of spring. Because we're so early in summer, you just know G2 are going to return to form. H2K and UOL, all these top teams are all leveling up as we continue on with the split, and it produces all of this action, and you just have to hope that some of that rubs off on teams like ROCCAT.
Oh yes, and next week, fast group play starts. Death Sentence goes over the wall, Unleash Power, not enough to kill Jesiz. Wadid actually needs to flash away to save his own life. Jez is now an easy target. No Stranglethorns available. Banshee's Veil is triggered. So that's on cooldown at least for a little while longer. And remember, there's no Stranglethorns here for Jesiz, so if ROCCAT want to play a desperation move, they're down 7k gold. They need any advantage they can get. Forcing Jesiz away is a good first step.
Dragon's going to be spawning in 35 seconds. Sun lands.
Chain of Corruption starts to spread. There's Flag and Drag. Doesn't knock anyone up. Cataclysm locks down Fnatic. There's a dash away from Cap. Wadid catches him. Follows him with a Death Sentence. That's the fight that ROCCAT needed. sOAZ is running away for his life as Rekkles is wrecking it on the back line of ROCCAT. sOAZ gets taken down as Pridestalker. He quadruple-booples his damage. 2 kills secured, and ROCCAT win the fight.
They actually come out ahead in this fight with so much gold in the favor of Fnatic. ROCCAT find a way of turning things around. Phenomenal fight from the team of ROCCAT. And let's see exactly how it happens. Caps, he tries to trade into Betsy and Hjarnan, he ends up getting rooted up. This means that Broxah has to take the brunt of the damage, and he is super squishy. Caps get zoned away, Rekkles is alone on the back line, and then when it's just sOAZ versus 3 members, that's actually very easy for ROCCAT to be able to turn this fight heavily in their favor, and it all comes off the back of Caps just trying too hard to be aggressive in his play. He gets stunned up, and Fnatic, that communication, that teamwork ends up working against them, because Broxah, rather than just leaving his mid lane to die, says, I will save you, Caps. I will be your hero. And instead, Caps is like, yeah, cheers, bro. And then he gets a death sentence too.
It is an exciting turn for ROCCAT to see when they get a team fight go their way, how good it can look.
Yes.
But they are still in a sizable deficit.
Yeah, it's still a 1-7 job.
Yes. 5,000 gold lead, down 2 dragons. And Fnatic have got a tower advantage as well. So can ROCCAT do that again a few more times? That's what they need to do to bounce back in this game. And it was good to see the combo, despite Phaxi, going in. And initially, I had trepidation about how deep he was going. The Cataclysm, definitely impactful. All right, locked down. Manages to get the EQ to safety. Phaxi's able to save his life this time around, as Fnatic, committing 2 on the bottom lane, allows ROCCAT to clear out some of these wards in the river, and they've got themselves a plethora of control wards, so they can start to combat this vision superiority that Fnatic had established.
That's very good. You also want to criticize sOAZ slightly, because why has he got that cloth armor when he could be using that space for control wards? Just a quick shot. Vision is very important this lane into the game. You want to make sure you maintain control as Phaxi.
Yeah, he's going to lock down Caps temporarily. In actual fact, Phaxi is locked inside his own cage. Caps with sOAZ takes him down. Baron is started by ROCCAT in the top lane. Remember, the solo laners have teleported. They're going to finish. Broxah goes in. ROCCAT get Baron. Pridestalker forced to repel, buying some time. Stranglethorns knocks up 2.
Run, ROCCAT,
lose 2 of their own. Only Betsy and Hjarnan survive. Blast Cone sends Broxah into Hjarnan's waiting hands. No more mana for Betsy. He's going to get run down by Caps and Rekkles. Hjarnan takes it under the tower. Root not going to find his target. Continuing to chase. The turret aggro is on Jesiz. Exhaust goes down.
He's doing it again.
Is looking for Broxah. Finds him, takes him down. Caps is being hammered by the minions.
Oh,
not going to do not kill Caps.
And ROCCAT, they get themselves the Baron, but they get aced. Fnatic walk away with all 5 kills, and now they're looking to break into the base, or just get themselves a bit of vision.
ROCCAT go all in on the Baron play.
They have to, like, this is the best play that they can. You know, the TP from Caps, along with the TP from the kled, means that it's very easy for Fnatic to respond. Broxah gets knocked away from the Baron, so he can't actually utilize that smite. Pridestalker does secure it, but then all you can do is really run when you're ROCCAT. And Hjarnan at this point, maybe if you've got a couple of extra hits in here or there, maybe, you know, you can look at this time and time again, but the fact is Betsy doesn't have any mana, and it's just the chase. Then we get to see ROCCAT nearly do it again, and he tells the world, I am the king of anti-tower dives. Even if that exhaust hadn't gone down, I think he actually could have killed multiple members.
Yep, I concur. Look at the HP on Caps.
And then the life
took him down.
the life steal from
See,
the Gunblade.
Gunblade meta, dude. Yeah. Saved Caps' life.
It's very good.
And Rekkles killing the entire wave very quickly helps out. But I love Fnatic Unleashed. They just chased. They chased ROCCAT across the earth.
They have a top laner whose ultimate is literally called Charge. So I feel like that is within their right to chase to the ends of the earth. Could have ended in disaster, but it did not. They still lead the kill score 21-9.
And of course, that Baron power play, not going to be great for ROCCAT. But they did get the Baron. It is an influx of gold.
The question is,
albeit how small,
is it worse? Never mind, fight starts.
Charge! sOAZ runs into the fray. The box goes down, as does the Strangle Thorns. Wadid and Hjarnan go flying for a second. Phaxi's pulled backwards. Cataclysm locks him in, but then he puts the wall down. Here comes Rekkles, slicing Maelstrom, locks down ROCCAT. sOAZ gets the first. Phaxi's looking for a reply. sOAZ gets a double. Hjarnan running for his life. Flash is available, but he's rooted, locked, killed. It's a double for Caps 2.
Beautifully played fight from Fnatic, getting 4 clean kills onto that of ROCCAT, and now the path has been open for Fnatic to walk into the base and maybe even take the series.
Well, death time is around 30-odd seconds, 25 kills in 28 minutes. Fnatic signaling their ability to destroy ROCCAT. And coaching staff backstage, it's been an interesting game, one with which you can still talk about a few decisions from Fnatic. That big team fight that they lost in the mid lane around, what was it, 6 minutes ago? But then you see engage like this, and just you have to praise Fnatic.
Yeah, you have to watch the way in which Fnatic play the fight, because look at where Caps is on the minimap. He comes in from the flank, and bear in mind, Fnatic haven't hard committed. Broxah, he's got himself a fair amount of magic resistance now, so he's able to disengage and not die. But Fnatic, Caps is coming in from the top. Rekkles patiently waits with his ultimate until a lot of the summoner spells were used so that he could get the CC down in order to win the fight. And then what you get is Hjarnan, he's just left alone to die. It's simply a matter of just picking single members off and gradually working your way through the team fight. You can just see how hard Hjarnan is trying to keep his team alive.
It's just such a difficult situation for ROCCAT. I mean, even though Hjarnan has actually dealt the most damage in this game, it's not enough to make up for the losses elsewhere. And you look at Fnatic, every single one of those members is so far ahead of their opposite number. And at 30 minutes in, I start thinking now, right, how do you pick a player of the series? How do you possibly pick one member specifically? I feel like this game, Broxah, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
I feel like in game number 1,
quick shot. Let me make this easy for you.
Yes.
Who has the best KDA?
Is it that simple?
It's no. A lot of people go.
Okay. I'm just checking.
No, that was just a joke. Never base player of the series on KDA. Your score is not a representation of the value that you bring to a team. And for me, I just feel like it's all been about Broxah.
Because
like, this whole series, this guy has been...
I loved sOAZ in game 1.
That's very true as well.
I think his gnaw was fantastic, and I think Broxah in game 2. And the reason I ask is, it's at this stage that we start thinking about it, because we have to actually submit a vote as the game ends. And when you've got a team like Fnatic, where all 5 members have just shown up, it makes it very difficult to say, hey, this guy is the reason they won, and this guy deserves that.
Well, it also doesn't have to be the reason they won, right? It's just like, who do you think had the biggest impact? And you could argue that, yes, sOAZ in Game 1 had a very large impact, and in Game 2, they did a very similar thing, but for me, it just feels like the Broxah just, for this composition to work, Broxah had to be the facilitator in order of getting that success for his team. And in Game 1, sure, his impact may not have been as significant, but the vision that he was putting down, the control, and the amount of pressure that he was allowing sOAZ to have so that he could be that massive split push threat is why I'm leaning more towards the jungle.
And you know what? I'm actually going to throw in a wrench in the works here.
Go.
Dylan Falco is on stage pre-game, right, with the team and chatting to them. And you notice how much slower their closeout, their macro, their decision-making, not as chaotic. Trying to play clean against a team that's so significantly better than. I wonder if we could vote for Dylan Falco.
Stop it, Trevor. Do not anger the people.
Oh, there are a few Twitter analysts out there that have just been triggered.
Because there are a lot of new fans that won't understand the meme. There are a lot of people that don't know. And I'm not going to educate them now, because that needs to die, okay? It needs to never be spoken of again, as both teams posture in the mid.
All right, where is sOAZ? He's coming from behind. The flank charge! Skull is about to be proc, and it has. sOAZ gets dropped, but he's got the GA to bring him back to life. Phaxi locks in all of Fnatic, but not able to take anyone down. His GA will go up, and the kill not going to be secured yet. Caps goes over the wall. The Raptor camp enlisted to help out, and Rekkles snipes him down with an auto. ROCCAT only lose one.
Huge strangle thorns there for Jesiz. Completely zones the rest of ROCCAT away after they very quickly shut sOAZ down. And what you have to remember is now we're reaching these 2-item spikes. It's very easy for ROCCAT to start shredding through this front line of Fnatic. As Hjarnan, this guy, he is very good.
Look at his on-hit build as well. Rage Blade, Blade of the Rune King, Hurricane. A little bit to deal with sOAZ and Broxah. Caps was trying to go hunting for a spider. Pridestalker's Repel bought enough time. Now Fnatic on the hunt again. It was a 1-0 fight. Baron is live. And despite Fnatic once again having a gigantically 10,000 gold, 4 additional towers, supers in the middle lane, ROCCAT is still just holding on.
Yeah, and a lot of that is thanks to Hjarnan. This guy has been dishing out some real damage in fights. And it's worth... Ooh. So, sOAZ, player of the series. This guy has been playing so well this game. Really impressed.
Oh, that was so unexpected. Nicely done, Vedius. Did not see the setup for Broxah getting caught. But we can assume it was either the...
We'll get a replay.
I'm sure that we will.
Our EVS team, guaranteed to help enlighten the public as to how that happened. Because bear in mind,
what is an EVS team, Vedius?
An electro-visual stimulating team.
Not bad. I would have gone video system.
Oh, damn.
Maybe. I don't know. I actually don't know what it stands for either. But that's production speak for our video team.
There's TP coming in.
We're not going to get the replay because it looks like ROCCAT are going to go for that risky Baron. Jesiz is popped as well. ROCCAT, is this where the comeback starts? Rekkles turns one around with the help of Cat onto Betsy. ROCCAT stuck inside the pit. Cat playing on the flank.
This is huge.
sOAZ goes down. Rekkles running for his life. Turns into an electro hamster. Escapes for the time being. Pridestalker is low and Fnatic 2 on 4. Caps is looking for the hunt. Chain goes wide. Shatter Orb targets Phaxi. And Caps he's looking, he's hunting, he wants to go fishing. Once again, dashes forward with a distortion, gets caught by the flay. Death sentence from Wadid is available. Mana goes low. Caps unstoppable. He pops Phaxi. Here comes Broxah looking for revenge. The man that died to start it all. Hjarnan looking to put the DPS down as Wadid is shut down. Rekkles back at full HP and with red buff. Shuts down ROCCAT's hope, and it's a double kill for Rekkles.
And things look so good for ROCCAT. They get themselves a huge fight around the Baron pit, but the 3-man unit of Rekkles, Caps, and Broxah is what keeps Fnatic in the game. They do not lose, I say keeps them in the game, keeps their lead. And they do not lose the Baron, but Pridestalker is still around. Fnatic, they do know, can Pridestalker get the steal?
Well, Pridestalker needs to be alive and he needs his repel. That's now on cooldown. Pridestalker's about to get popped, gets a very good cocoon. Here comes Betsy. Betsy, with the help of Pridestalker, secures the kill. Baron is the focus for Fnatic as sOAZ is zoning away ROCCAT. Dark Sphere gets sent forward by Betsy, and Fnatic secure another Baron.
This has turned into quite the show. As let's have a look back at how both these teams decided to kill each other. So.
That is beautiful.
So this is the fight. A lot of ultimates were used from ROCCAT onto just getting that kill onto the support. But you can see Caps, he keeps trying to come in from the flank, but his impact in the fight was actually very minimal. Rekkles, very lucky to be able to get out of that fray, considering he was in a 1 versus 3 and very nearly got a kill himself. But then this whole chase was massive.
It was indeed, because look at Phaxi. He counts a few seconds, and it's like 1, 2, 3, pop! Goes the Phaxi. Go, Caps, go!
Now.
Just waits for the passive. By the way, Broxah, I'm not a medical doctor. Medic is on the show last week. He'll be back soon. He would have diagnosed Broxah with a severe case of Lee syndrome. That is what settled his death a few moments ago. ROCCAT still down 10,000 gold. The charge was already used by sOAZ, and Elder Dragon has reset. ROCCAT continue to try and focus it down. They've got control of the Scuttle Crab. The movement speed increase will help out. The jousting interrupted by Death Sentence. Stranglethorns is popped, as is the box. Elder Dragon says, I don't care about your shenanigans, and it begins to reset. Continues to build up. Caps on the flank. He's looking for Betsy. Banshee's Veil is popped. Distorts back to the clone. The fight continues to break out, and Elder's like, come on! God, fight already!
Kill each other!
Not gonna happen yet! Elder Dragon continues to get burst and focused and chunked down. ROCCAT looking for an engage. Someone kill something! Pridestalker takes down Elder. The damage bonus is with them. Caps is running around ROCCAT as a Guardian Angel is popped in the river. Nobody has died yet. Phaxi's running away. The objective goes to ROCCAT.
But look in the top lane, there's a massive minion wave just hitting onto that tower on ROCCAT. They need to get back to base as soon as possible. Fnatic aren't letting them as a TP comes in.
They're not at all. ROCCAT's trying to get away, and Fnatic don't want any of it. Caps takes down Phaxi once again. Fnatic with the Baron buff minions are pushing down the bottom lane. Squirrel runs past ROCCAT, and that's going to be a kill onto Hjarnan. He's taken down, but takes Caps with him. Fnatic continue the pressure. 50-second death timers. How far do Fnatic go?
Now there's still a minute left on the Baron for Fnatic. They still want to be able to break into the base of ROCCAT, but that big minion wave on the top side was not able to break into the base. Fnatic, though, they still feel confident. 30-second death timer on top of Phaxi. And the action slows down. A very long time of a lot of excited Trevor, but not a huge amount happening.
Not a lot of deaths in that fight.
Like, considering champions in this game, that was very surprising.
I think Elder Dragon reset 3 times in one fight.
We won't be able to track that because this is the latter half of the fight where you actually kind of get this sandwich attack from Fnatic as you have the top of the bread come in towards the bottom of the bread, and Caps just does so much damage this lane into the game. At the moment he lands those chains onto a rather, or makes him look like a squishy top laner, it becomes a very easy kill. And Hjarnan, he's rooted up for far too long to be able to get away from any of that. Does end up with 2 kills, no towers end up going down. Elder Dragon in favor of ROCCAT. For a game that has a 9,000 gold lead in favor of Fnatic.
It's insane. And it goes back to the question that we asked, you know, like Fnatic in game 1, they were very slow to close out. They were safe to close out. And I'm not a huge fan of criticizing that style of play, but in a similar fashion, slow to push this advantage, slow to play around a 10K gold lead, means that now at 40 minutes, that 10K actually means significantly less. ROCCAT are showing, you know what, if you give us a fair fight, screw it, we can win some of these.
Well, especially this lane into the game, yeah. And again, I just want to really highlight Hjarnan. This guy playing like a madman right now. His positioning and the damage output that he's throwing, I'd love to see his damage at the very end of the game because I feel like he is one of the big reasons as to why ROCCAT have been going fairly even in a lot of these fights.
We'll track that a little later. There's a few more fights going before this game ends. Vedius, the 2017 game record for the most amount of kills is 54 here in Europe.
Wow.
And we're getting close to that.
Who had that, do you know?
I do not. Stats team buzzed me with the total kill number. I'll find out how many.
I want to say it was a unicorns game.
I know, you always do. They oftentimes have the most entertaining. It was in actual fact, oh no. It was in actual fact ROCCAT versus Origin.
Oh, it was that game where they had the most of everything.
54 kills. We are currently on 46. So Fnatic and ROCCAT need at least 2 big team fights or a double ace, and we'll break the records.
Well, I wouldn't put it past them, but Elder Dragon is poof. The Baron is poof. The 1-3-1 being set up by Fnatic, except Rekkles is the split pusher rather than the Caps with the TP. Still classic Fnatic style, but now a lot of tension is starting to mount. Because Fnatic realize that they cannot win fights super convincingly like they have done in the past. There's a lot of really important crowd control that Fnatic has to dodge if they want to stand a chance.
Yeah, but you can't dodge a spreading chain of corruption.
No, but we do know they were like, I remember a stat back in the old days where like that ultimate was the most missed ultimate. It was missed so much that they actually had to buff it because people could not land that ultimate. So, I mean, it's dodgeable, right? Like, it's still possible. But for ROCCAT to win the fight, they just need to nuke sOAZ as fast as they can. Now, bear in mind, like, in terms of raw defensive stats, he does have more now. But in a lot of the previous fights, he just had a lot of health. And a lot of armor. And bear in mind, like, this on-hit build from Hjarnan does a surprising amount of magic damage, too. So now that he's going towards what I imagine will be a Spirits Visage, it's going to be exciting to see what Fnatic.
We'll see in a few minutes because Varius, it's 30 seconds to Baron, and both lanes in the bottom and top is being pushed here for Fnatic. The traditional Kennen, the traditional split push Rekkles, is set up, and ROCCAT, they're waiting around a corner. Wadid has had pretty good accuracy with those death sentences. This game already is going to need it once more. There's the Baron in your picture-in-picture, bottom left corner. The gold lead means nothing. And if Fnatic this series are anything to be believed, they're likely going to play around that Baron before they try to win the game.
Yep. Baron is always a big point of contention. Caps, though.
Oh, Banshee's Veil gets popped there, unable to find his chains. And Wadid held on to the death sentence for a little while. Betsy now coming forward. Scatter the Weak is available for Betsy if he needs to. Total damage this game, Vedius. You were talking about it. Nearly 40,000 damage for Hjarnan alone, and he's going to be the way that ROCCAT can win these fights.
Phaxi's winning this.
sOAZ took a lot of tower damage on the inhibitor turret as Rekkles.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
Take the inhibitor turret up top. Baron secured by ROCCAT. Here comes a fight. Chain of Corruption finds a target, starts to spread. That's a kill to Jesiz. He used the Stranglethorns but didn't find anything more.
It looks right now that ROCCAT, they have the teamfight advantage. Caps doing what he can to come back.
It's a 5 versus 4. ROCCAT have got 2 exposed inhibitors. Phaxi's looking for Rekkles, but Rekkles has got his flash available. Cocoon from Pridestalker finds nobody, and sOAZ has teleported into the fight.
Look at the base, though. There's a big wave in the top lane, big wave in the bottom lane, and Fnatic, they're still pushing even while they're being pushed back.
Vedius, do you believe in miracles? Because ROCCAT sure as hell do. They are trying to come back from a gigantic deficit, but Caps, he's going for the backdoor play.
Caps wants to try and keep Fnatic in the lead right now, while ROCCAT, they will be able to get a tower. Caps' pressure is still insurmountable.
It is indeed. Phaxi throws down the Demacian Standard, unable to find a target of Caps. The inhibitor is saved for now, but it's not done yet. sOAZ continues to push down the bottom lane. Betsy's looking to cut off Caps. Good luck, though. Those distortions and flashes. There's support coming from the rest of ROCCAT on the minimap. Hjarnan and Wadid making their way around. But there's also support for Caps. Broxah's coming up, and the tension continues to build.
Ladies and gentlemen, tell your family, tell your friends, ROCCAT are making the miracle happen. They might be able to bring this back against Fnatic.
We have gone full fiesta, boys! That's it, Fnatic and ROCCAT at 45 minutes. All I need to seal the deal is ZZ Rot portals. Get me some ZZ Rots. Rekkles must be sitting on a ton of gold. 3,000 gold and like full build. Come on, give me a ZZ Rot, and then we know we're full late game.
This is pretty late game, to be fair. But here we go. Fight's happening in the bottom lane.
All right, Phaxi's the target. Rekkles and sOAZ trying to run him down. ROCCAT ROCCAT, they're pushing in the base. Fnatic have lost an inhibitor turret. Fnatic have lost an inhibitor. Phaxi, let's out the cataclysm. ROCCAT are turning around the Nexus turret. We need to look at the Fnatic base. ROCCAT are doing it. They're onto the Nexus turret. They've taken down Broxah. Caps jumps into the ROCCAT line. The Nexus is the target, and ROCCAT take down Fnatic.
I cannot believe that ROCCAT got that turnaround. 10,000 gold in the lead. Fnatic had that game in the bag. And so, ROCCAT, they do the unthinkable. Every time you count them out, every time the pressure is put on them, ROCCAT do it. I love this team.
How many total kills before the end of the game?
33 to 16, that makes 49.
We did not break the kill record in 2017. There's a third game to come. Maybe that's where we will do it. But we did break another record, Vedius.
Yeah,
it's not a good one.
Was it the first time I've ever had a stitch on cast?
I think you need to go to gym more, my friend. Phaxi died 13 times that game.
Right.
That is the most deaths in a single game for an EU LCS player all year long.
Wow.
I mean, it's not a good stat. It's not a good stat.
Oh, that was fun. That was a great game.
Can I ask a horribly unfair question?
Yeah, as always, carry on.
Did ROCCAT win that game, or did Fnatic lose that game? And where do you land on the spectrum?
Isn't it great that we have a dedicated team to figure that answer out?
Oh, that is such a dodge. ROCCAT are going for the comeback victory. Let's see what our analysts think about that game and my question.
Thank you very much, Trevor. So let's see if they listened. What do you guys think?
I think...
Did you listen?
I did listen.
Oh, okay.
I
so
always listen to
the question was if they lost the game or
yes.
I mean, ROCCAT won it.
All I will say is it doesn't matter because you're ROCCAT. You just managed to win a game against Fnatic.
Absolutely.
I don't know what happens whenever ROCCAT plays Fnatic. It's like they get really weird but somewhat better, and Fnatic somewhat gets much worse whenever these teams play each other.
Also, records broken. This was the game that was won with the most deaths ever in a game in the split. 13. Yeah.
Oh,
Phaxi.
you mean for Phaxi?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did not do that well at all.
This was the worst
this year
a player ever had.
Yeah, in a winning game. Yes.
But Kabasha did tell me that Darien used to have the same kind of scoreline. So maybe there's an old one back in Season 3 that could...
Do you want to let Kabasha talk at all, or are you just...
Oh, he's not here anymore, is he?
He's getting oppressed.
Yeah, he is. So let's actually talk about the game, because in the end, monumental upset, right? ROCCAT winning this game versus Fnatic fantastically. And we're going to start by taking a look at the early game and the bot lane, where it starts off really, really well for Fnatic, actually. And Broxah's back to his old form, Kabasha.
Yeah, definitely. I think at this point, Phaxi died already 2 or 3 times, and right now they are pressuring bot lane pretty well, I guess. And they can just walk all over them. I think they had great control in the early stages of the game, and then they just started throwing like all over the map. I think ROCCAT got like 2 Nashor and 1 Elder Drake, and yeah, then the base race at the end.
What happened here, Kabasha, if you just keep going?
I don't know.
Did he miss an ability?
No,
or?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Oh.
But Hjarnan, right there, my boy.
Yeah.
Sniping.
The brain. You're trying
that
to
play, that play. And this play obviously started the ROCCAT snowball.
that is the play that did. No, but you guys mentioned it. A lot of kills just all over the map and something out of ROCCAT.
I mean, so something out of ROCCAT, but obviously everything here in the start, like that replay, it was more or less the complete standard Fnatic play that we see all the time. Obviously, bot lane fights happen again with Kennen getting some kills for Rekkles this time. Just actually get up and Rekkles get it after here. But so many things to me was complete standard Fnatic game. Broxah would gank top lane first, get kills. Then Broxah would gank bot lane. We just saw that replay before, get kills. That would actually snowball both side lanes. So both sOAZ and Rekkles at this point pretty damn fed. So we already thought here, 14 minutes in.
And I asked you.
I know.
I asked you.
Like, this game is done.
I'm like, is this going to turn? And you said, there is no way in hell that ROCCAT win this game. So tell me, what changed, Kabasha? Why did the game slip out of Fnatic's hands?
I think, yeah, it has to do with the 2 Nashor control that weren't get executed that well. And I guess it was kind of 50-50 smites, to be honest. But at the end, I think Pridestalker got both of them. And they couldn't just break the base at some point. Jarvan was, even if he was so like 113, he had good items and he could just handle kled, I think.
I mean, at some point you get enough items that no matter what your score is, you're gonna have the same items as the guy next to you, and you can actually hold your own in.
And ROCCAT starts winning fights.
They start winning fights, but also like it felt like Fnatic tried to play too much of Fnatic's game, even when they actually didn't need to. When they're now at this point so far ahead, they kept trying to only play side lanes. So obviously, ROCCAT actually found, you know, as you said, wins in team fights. They found Baron setups where Fnatic were caught off guard.
Betsy was fed on Syndra.
Betsy was on a triple kill
well.
just before. You know, it was such a strange game because at almost every point it felt like Fnatic, they were just in full control. And then fights like this suddenly happen where you're like, wait a minute, how did they lose this fight?
Beautiful ultimate by Hjarnan to start it all off.
Fair, Hjarnan, obviously great ult, but like these are the kind of fights you normally would never lose when you're this far ahead.
I mean, I have nothing to add.
Right, so here for sOAZ is dying, and oh, come on, guys. How come that ROCCAT, like, they haven't been able to win any fights in the games before this? They haven't been able to put any real pressure down, and then they beat a team that has one of the best team fights in Europe through team fights.
Well,
not in the end,
actually,
but by turning it around.
I don't think Fnatic has some of the best team fights in Europe.
Great discussion points.
This is not even based on this game at all, but like I think Fnatic as a team are winning games through playing multiple lanes at the same time and having multiple players playing very aggressive in 1v1s, 2v2s. That's why Kennen Shen is such a good thing for them. That's why the kled was successful in this game. I think pure team fighting, I'm looking at G2 and Unicorns of Love as teams who win more games like that. Like Fnatic technically are not doing that well full late game.
Case in point, our next replay is where they make the decision that they want to try and push the base on 2 different lanes and not try and go for the fighting. Well, they should have just defended, let's be honest, but still.
Yeah, here I think they're playing against Nashor, they can't really overcome it that much on... I think at first he was wanting to backdoor, but they wanted to catch at the same time in bot lane. Like, they tried to make 2 different things at the same time and...
yeah, this looks lost before it's...
Yeah, it wasn't even close,
no.
Yeah.
this last call. And
I think at first they just want maybe Caps to try to backdoor it while they defend mid, but then they see Jarvan overextending a bit and they think they have time to do it, but against Nashor, like, they break the base too fast. So.
And if you take a look at the gold graph at the end.
That's what I mean. It's insane. Like at almost every point we were like, this is such a classic Fnatic stomp happening at the moment. You know, they have Kennen, a sOAZ was fed, Broxah was like super fed from the early game. And it seems almost impossible that at any point they could actually lose, but the game got so far into the late game. And Hjarnan as well, 43,000 damage on Varus in late game teamfights.
And the smiles on Phaxi and on Hjarnan after the end of that game, they said it all. Is that the kind of boost that ROCCAT needs, even if it's just one game to get them, propel them a bit, Kabashar?
Yeah, maybe. I think it feels great to win this kind of game when you're like that far behind and you make a comeback, like you make a good call at the end, because they could have said we have to defend, but eventually they just said we have the timing to just break the base. And right now we can see if they bring it in next game, but I think Fnatic, they had great control and they're just going to win next game calm and steady.
All right, you agree?
I mean, I really want to believe in ROCCAT
Here you can make a difference, Martin.
No, I mean, I'm sticking to Fnatic because I think Fnatic will go in and do basically what they did in the start of this game, but maybe we've talked about how do we actually close the game this time. It's good for Fnatic, though, that a game like this happens. Because, again, it means you have something to go back and look at. I mean, like, how on earth did ROCCAT manage to get back in this game? And there's a lot of things you can obviously analyze then.
Yeah, a lot. Let's see if they have the time with Dylan Falco at the helm of everything now.
10 minutes right now is probably not enough.
Prove his worth. This is it. Make or break, man. All right, we'll see if it happens. And we'll see ROCCAT, what will they do? They've gone toe-to-toe with Fnatic so far. The final battle is right around the corner. Don't go anywhere.